The desert was silent except for the soft hum of machines. Ethan Cole sat alone inside the small observatory, the glow of screens painting his tired face. It was his night shift again, 12 hours of watching the stars through telescopes that rarely showed anything new. He sipped cold coffee, eyes half closed. But tonight, something felt wrong. Outside the window, the stars flickered, not like usual. They moved, slowly at first, then faster, shifting patterns as if dancing. Ethan frowned and leaned closer. "That can't be right," he whispered. The telescope's sensors blinked red, detecting something enormous just beyond the atmosphere. He grabbed his radio. "Base Command, this is Outpost 7. I'm seeing some strange movement in Sector 4. Can you confirm?" The radio hissed, static. No answer. The ground trembled beneath his boots. Tools rolled off the table. Ethan ran outside, the desert wind hitting his face. Above him, the night sky was burning blue. A massive light opened, like a tear in the heavens. For a moment, he thought it was lightning. Then the light focused on him. A sound filled the air, deep, vibrating, like thunder inside his chest. Ethan tried to run, but his legs froze. His body lifted slowly from the ground, pulled upward by the beam. He shouted, but his voice vanished in the wind. The world became white. When he woke, everything was silent again. Ethan blinked. He was lying inside a glass tube floating in soft blue mist. Strange shapes moved outside the glass. Tall figures, graceful and glowing. They weren't human. Their skin shimmered like liquid silver. Their eyes were bright like gems lit from within. They wore long robes that glowed faintly, and symbols moved across their clothes as if alive. Ethan tried to move, but invisible energy held him still. His heart raced. "Where am I? Who are you?" The figures spoke in a language that sounded like music. One of them stepped closer. Her voice was calm, almost kind, but her words came from inside his head, not his ears. "Do not be afraid, human." Ethan froze. "You can understand me?" The figure nodded. Her eyes were like twin suns, golden and endless. "I am Princess Valara of the Solarian Empire." "You have been chosen." "Chosen?" Ethan's voice shook. "For what?" Valara studied him. Around her, 3 more women appeared, each slightly different but equally unreal. One had sapphire blue skin like the ocean. Another's hair floated as if underwater. The last carried a staff that glowed with symbols. Ethan looked from one to another. "What is this? Why me?" Valara raised her hand. The mist around him cleared and a holographic earth appeared in the air, bright and fragile. "Your world is rich with life," she said softly. "Ours is dying. We searched your kind for centuries. You are compatible. You are the key to our survival." Ethan's heart pounded. "Survival? I'm just a man. I don't even have a college degree." Valara tilted her head. "You are more than you think." The glass tube opened. He fell to the floor, gasping. The surface beneath him felt alive, pulsing faintly like skin. Ethan stumbled to his feet, backing away. The room around him was enormous, shining with light that came from nowhere. Windows opened to a sea of stars, so close he could almost touch them. He turned toward the door, but 2 armored guards blocked the path. Their eyes glowed red. "Send me home," Ethan shouted. "Now!" The sisters looked at him with cold sadness. Kaya, the youngest-looking one, stepped forward. Her voice trembled slightly. "We cannot. The process has begun." "What process?" No one answered. Ethan lunged toward the exit, but the air itself pushed him back. He crashed against the wall, breathless. A soft blue light wrapped around him like chains. Valara walked closer. She crouched beside him, her voice a whisper. "You will save our people, Ethan Cole. You will become the father of a new race." Ethan stared at her in horror. "You're insane," she smiled, a sad, beautiful smile. "No, human. We are desperate." Before he could speak again, a burst of white light swallowed his vision. His body went numb. He felt weightless, falling through the stars. Then white darkness. When his eyes opened again, he was lying in a grand hall made of glowing crystal. Strange creatures bowed as he passed, whispering words he didn't understand. In front of him stood the 4 alien princesses. Tall, regal, and shining like goddesses. Valara raised her hand. "Welcome to Solarian, human. Your destiny begins now." Ethan's voice trembled. "I don't want your destiny." Her expression turned soft and almost tender. "It doesn't matter what you want. and as the alien guards surrounded him, the stars outside the palace began to flicker, as if the universe itself was watching. The air grew heavy, and for the first time in his life, Ethan Cole felt truly alone. The last thing he heard before everything went black again was Vailara's quiet voice echoing in his mind. "You will save us, even if you refuse." When Ethan woke again, soft light filled the room. He was lying on a smooth white bed that floated a few inches above the floor. The air smelled clean like rain after a storm. The ceiling shimmered with colors that moved like waves. He sat up slowly, his head spinning. His clothes were gone, replaced with a silver suit that clung to his body and glowed faintly. When he touched it, it felt warm, almost alive. "Where am I?" he whispered to himself. A voice answered from behind. "You are in the royal chamber of the Celeran Palace." Ethan turned. It was her again, Princess Vailara. She looked even more unreal in this soft light. Her long white hair floated behind her like a mist. Her golden eyes studied him with quiet power. He jumped to his feet. "Take me home now!" Vailara tilted her head slightly as if he were a child. "You cannot return yet. The process is not finished." "What process?" "You keep saying that," he shouted. "I'm not part of any experiment." She sighed and waved her hand. The walls around them turned transparent, revealing a view that stole his breath. Outside the palace was a floating city made of crystal towers. The sky was filled with flying ships that glowed like fireflies. Giant rings of light spun slowly around the planet. In the distance, 2 suns burned, one gold, one pale blue. "This is Celerion," Vailara said softly. "Our home. Once the center of a great empire. Now dying." Ethan stared at the endless sky. It was beautiful and terrifying. "Why bring me here?" Vailara walked closer. "Because your world is alive. Its people are strong, fertile, full of energy. Our people are fading. For thousands of years we searched the stars for a species that could bond with our kind. Only one matched, humans." Ethan shook his head. "Bond, what does that mean?" "You will help us continue our line." Her tone was calm, but the meaning behind her words struck him like lightning. He backed away, his heart pounding. "You kidnapped me for breeding?" Vailara did not flinch. "For survival." He wanted to scream, to punch, to run now, but there was nowhere to go. The air felt too heavy, the walls too far. Then another voice broke the silence. "Sister, you frighten him." A new figure entered, shorter, gentler, with deep blue skin and bright silver eyes. She smiled softly. "I am Kaya." Her voice was music. "Please do not fear us. We mean no harm." Ethan gave a bitter laugh. "You call this no harm? You took me from my planet." Kaya looked down, ashamed. "I know, but our world is dying. Our mothers are gone. The suns are growing cold. Soon we will vanish." For a moment, Ethan saw pain in her eyes. Real pain, not the cold control of Vailara. It made his anger fade just a little. Vailara turned to Kaya. He must understand his purpose. "We do not have time for emotions," Kaya glared at her sister. "He is not a machine, Vailara." The air between them grew tense. Ethan could feel energy pulsing through the floor. The palace itself seemed alive. Then the third princess entered, Lunara, tall and dark, her eyes glowing like ice. She carried a staff covered in symbols that floated in the air. "Enough," she said. "If he resists, we will take what we need from him." Ethan stepped back, fear rising in his chest. "What does that mean?" Lunara smiled faintly. "You will see." Vailara raised her hand, stopping her sister. "No, he will cooperate, and willingly." Ethan clenched his fists. "Never." Vailara's eyes softened again. "You think we are your enemies. But if we wish to harm you, you would already be dead. We need your life, not your death." She touched a crystal panel beside the wall. A holographic image of Earth appeared again, but this time it was not peaceful. Fire covered the continents. Storms ripped across oceans. Ethan stared in horror. "What is this?" "A glimpse of what could come," Vailara said quietly. "Your planet is fragile. We can protect it, but only if you help us." He couldn't tell if it was a threat or a warning. Maybe both. Kaya stepped closer, placing a gentle hand on his arm. "Please, Ethan, you don't have to decide now. Just see our world first." Ethan looked into her silver eyes. Something in them felt human. Lonely. Desperate. Tired. "Fine," he said, voice shaking. "Show me." Vailara nodded, satisfied. "Good. Guards will escort you. You are safe here as long as you obey." Two tall armored guards appeared at the door. They didn't speak. Their eyes glowed red like burning coals. As Ethan followed them out, he turned back one last time. Kaya gave him a small smile. Valara stood still like a statue, watching him. Lunara's cold eyes followed, calculating. The palace doors opened to a wide bridge of light stretching into the city. The air shimmered with energy. Below him, the world of Solarian pulsed like a living heart. Ethan took a deep breath. He didn't know what waited for him, freedom or a cage with no walls. But one thought echoed in his mind as he looked at the alien sky. If they think I'll just give up, they don't know what a human can do. Ethan stood on a balcony of light that stretched above the alien city. Below him, Solarian shimmered, a world made of glass and light. Towers floated in the air, connected by glowing bridges. Strange flying creatures moved through the pink clouds, their wings leaving trails of fire. For a moment it was beautiful. But to Ethan it was also a prison. He had been there for 3 days. Each day the princesses came to question him, his body, his memories, his planet. Machines scanned him, doctors whispered, guards watched. They treated him like something between a god and an experiment. He tried everything, shouting, begging, threatening, but nothing worked. Now he stood there alone, watching the twin suns rise. His hands trembled. There has to be a way out, he whispered. You still think of escape, said a soft voice behind him. Ethan turned. It was Kaya, the blue-skinned princess with silver eyes. She wore no armor today, just a thin white cloak that shimmered in the wind. She held a small crystal in her hand, glowing faintly. I don't belong here, Ethan said. You know that. Kaya nodded slowly. Yes, but our people, they are desperate. Ethan frowned, then asked for help. Don't steal it. Kaya walked to the edge of the balcony and looked down at the glowing city. You think we didn't ask? We reached out to hundreds of worlds. Some ignored us. Others attacked. Your species was the only one that matched our life pattern. Ethan sighed. You mean my DNA? Kaya turned to him, eyes sad. Yes, you are special, Ethan. Your body can adapt to our energy. You can save us, he shook his head. You talk about saving your people, but you're killing me. I'm not a tool. For a long moment she said nothing. Then she whispered, Maybe we both are. Ethan looked at her, really looked. Her eyes were tired. Her voice trembled. She wasn't like her sisters. There was warmth in her, something human-like. You don't agree with them, do you? He asked. Kaya hesitated, then lowered her gaze. Valara believes in destiny. Lunara believes in control, but I believe in choice. Then help me, Ethan said quietly. Kaya looked up, startled. Help you escape? If they find out, I'll be punished. Then don't let them find out, Ethan said, his voice calm but firm. You said you believe in choice. Give me mine. Kaya's hand tightened around the crystal. You don't understand what you're asking. If you leave, our people will die. Ethan stepped closer. And if I stay, I lose everything I am. The silence between them grew heavy. The wind whispered softly through the balcony's glowing edges. Finally, Kaya spoke. There is a way off the palace, an energy tunnel that carries transport ships to the outer rings. But it's guarded, and only royal codes can open it. Can you get me one? She looked down at the crystal in her hand. This is a master key. It can open the outer gates once. If I give it to you, they'll know. Ethan's heart raced. Kaya, please. She stared at him for a long moment, torn between fear and compassion. Then she pressed the crystal into his palm. Take it, but promise me one thing. What? When you reach your world, don't forget us. Don't forget that we tried to survive. Ethan looked into her eyes and nodded. I promise. Kaya smiled faintly, though her eyes shimmered with sadness. Go now, before they sense what I've done. Ethan turned and ran through the glowing corridors. The crystal in his hand pulsed like a heartbeat. He could feel energy moving around him, the hum of alien life. He reached a wide circular hall where the air shimmered like water. Guards stood near the gate, tall, silent, their armor glowing red. Ethan hid behind a pillar, clutching the crystal. He took a deep breath, then whispered, Please work. The crystal lit up. The air cracked open with a flash of blue light. The guards shouted, but Ethan leaped through the opening. For one wild second he was flying. The world spun around him. Tunnels of light, streaks of color, the pull of gravity twisting and bending. Then alarms blared through the entire city. Sirens screamed. Energy shields flared to life. Far above, in the royal chamber, Vylara turned toward her sisters. Her golden eyes burned with anger. "He's escaping." Lunara raised her staff, symbols glowing in the air. "Should I stop him?" Vylara's lips curved into a cold smile. "No, let him run. He will come back when he learns he cannot survive without us." Ethan shot out of the tunnel into open sky. The alien horizon stretched endlessly before him. Glowing seas, floating mountains, rings of fire around the suns. He found a small hovercraft docked near a platform. Without thinking, he climbed in. The controls glowed under his fingers, reacting to his touch. The ship lifted. He looked back at the shining city and whispered, "I'm going home." But as the ship shot toward the stars, the sky itself began to twist. A bright red barrier shimmered ahead, an invisible wall of energy closing in. Ethan pulled the controls hard. No, the ship struck the barrier." Light exploded, and as everything went dark, Ethan heard one last voice echoing in his mind. Kaya's voice, soft and broken. "I'm sorry, Ethan. They will never let you go." Blinding light swallowed everything. The crash threw Ethan across the control deck. The ship spun wildly, alarms screaming in alien voices. Flames licked the edges of the cockpit, sparks flying as the craft tore through clouds of blue smoke. He gripped the seat, teeth clenched. The view outside twisted, stars, sky, then ground. The hovercraft hit something solid. The impact threw him forward. Glass shattered. Then silence. Ethan opened his eyes slowly. The ship lay half buried in glowing sand. His body ached, blood trickled down his forehead, but he was alive. Above him, 2 suns burned low in the strange green sky. The air shimmered like heat waves and the wind hummed with faint electricity. Every breath felt heavy, thick, almost alive. He stumbled out of the wreck, coughing. His heart pounded as he looked around. He was on the edge of some alien desert, endless dunes glowing faintly in the light. Far away, dark mountains floated above the horizon like islands in the air. The silence was broken only by the hum of broken engines. Ethan took a deep breath. "I made it out," he whispered. "I actually made it, but then the sound." A deep metallic thrum from the distance. He turned and saw lights on the horizon, moving fast. 3 black ships flying low, scanning the sands with red beams. "They found me already," he muttered, gripping the shard of crystal still in his pocket. He ran. Each step sent pain through his body. The desert seemed endless, the ground glowing faintly under his boots. Strange plants, sharp like glass, grew from the sand. His reflection stared back from every surface, small, human, and terribly alone. The ships came closer, their engines roaring. He dove behind a fallen rock structure as the light passed over. When the beam hit him, everything in his body burned. He bit his lip to stop from screaming. It felt like fire under his skin, but also something else. The same blue energy that had once trapped him now moved inside him, pulsing like a heartbeat. Ethan looked at his hands. They glowed faintly blue. The mark spread up his veins, fading when he focused, returning when he panicked. "What's happening to me?" he whispered. The air shimmered again. A soft voice filled his mind. "You are adapting, Ethan." He froze. "Kaya, you cannot survive here without change," her voice said gently. "The energy of Solarian is inside you now. It protects you." Ethan pressed his hands to his head. "You can't do this." "I'm not one of you." "You are becoming both," the voice faded. "Run, Ethan, they are close." The sound of engines grew louder. Ethan sprinted again, climbing over glowing rocks. Every step felt lighter, too light. When he jumped, his feet stayed off the ground a little too long. He was faster now, stronger. The ships opened fire. Bolts of red plasma exploded around him, throwing up waves of sand. Ethan dived behind a ridge, panting. He saw a strange cave nearby, glowing with blue veins of crystal. He rushed inside, the air cool and heavy. The sound of the ships faded above him. Inside the cave, he found carvings on the walls. Tall figures like the princesses, standing beside human shapes. There were symbols of light merging with dark, 2 hearts joined. It wasn't just a prophecy. It was history. He ran his fingers over the carvings. This isn't the first time humans came here. Before he could think more, the cave shook. The entrance exploded in blue fire. Guards stepped through, tall, armored, and glowing. Ethan backed away, ready to fight, though he had no weapon. His palms burned with strange light. The lead guard raised his staff. Surrender, human, the princess demands your return. Ethan's anger boiled over. You think you can control me? He raised his hands without knowing why, and a blast of blue energy shot from his palms. It struck the guards, sending them flying backward into the sand. The shock made Ethan stumble. His hands smoked, glowing like fire. He stared at them, terrified. What am I turning into? A deep, calm voice answered from the cave's shadows. Into what you were meant to be. Ethan turned sharply. A tall figure stepped forward, cloaked in silver armor, face hidden. The voice was mechanical yet ancient. Who are you? Ethan asked. I was human once, the stranger said. Long ago, before the Celerin came. They told me the same lies they told you. Ethan's heart pounded. You're saying they took others before me? Yes, the figure said, removing the hood. His face was half metal, half flesh, eyes glowing faint blue. We are what happens when you fight them. Ethan stepped back. I don't want to be one of you. You may not have a choice, the figure said. They will come for you again, and next time they won't ask. Outside, the sound of engines thundered closer. The stranger looked up. If you want to live, follow me. Ethan hesitated, staring at the sky. Red lights moved like hunters above the dunes. His body ached, his heart raced, but one thought echoed in his mind. He couldn't let them win. He nodded. All right, lead the way. The two ran deeper into the glowing tunnels as the world above filled with fire. And far away, in the Crystal Palace, Vylara stood by a window, watching the desert burn. Her golden eyes narrowed. He's changing faster than expected, she whispered. Lunara appeared beside her. Should we destroy him? Vylara smiled faintly. No, he will come back to us. They always do. She turned toward the stars, whispering softly, he is ours now, whether he knows it or not. The tunnels beneath the desert were silent except for the low hum of alien energy. Blue veins of light ran through the stone, pulsing like a heartbeat. Ethan followed the silver-armored stranger deeper inside, his breath uneven, his mind spinning. He could still feel the power burning inside his hands, that strange blue fire that came from nowhere. Where are we going? Ethan asked, glancing around. The stranger's metallic voice echoed softly. To a place the princesses cannot reach. The old laboratories, they built them long before your world even existed. Ethan frowned. You said you were human once. What happened to you? The man stopped and looked back. Half of his face was human, pale and tired. The other half glowed with silver circuits. They took me like they took you. Said I was chosen. Said I would save them. But I only became their experiment. Ethan stared at him, shocked. How long have you been here? Too long, the man whispered. I stopped counting after 100 years. The words made Ethan's stomach twist. He realized what he feared most wasn't death. It was being trapped here forever. They entered a wide chamber filled with broken machines. Floating crystals hummed above cracked tables, glowing faintly. Symbols glimmered on the walls. The same he'd seen in the cave, but now they shifted like living code. The stranger gestured to a pod in the corner. Sit there. You're changing faster than I did. The energy will burn you if we don't control it. Ethan hesitated. And if I trust you? The man's one human eye softened. Then you might live long enough to go home. Ethan sat down. The pod's surface was warm, alive. Light scanned his body, lines of blue tracing his veins. He could see his reflection in the metal, his eyes faintly glowing, his skin marked with flickering light. It's inside me, isn't it? Ethan asked quietly. Yes, the man said. The Celerin energy fuses with living matter. You're no longer fully human, but that's what makes you dangerous to them. Dangerous? The man nodded. You can control their power without their machines. That's why they'll never let you go. Ethan clenched his fists. Then I'll fight them. Before the stranger could answer, the ground shook. Blue dust fell from the ceiling. A sharp alarm echoed through the tunnels. Deep, metallic, familiar. They found us, the man said. The walls glowed red as drones flew in, their eyes bright and cold. Ethan jumped from the pod. The man drew a glowing blade, cutting through the first wave of machines. Run, he shouted. Ethan turned toward the tunnel and froze. Standing at the entrance, surrounded by soft blue light, was Kaya. Ethan. Stop, she cried. He stared at her, torn between anger and relief. You followed me? Kaya's eyes were full of worry. You're in danger. My sisters know where you are. They've sent the royal guard, the man growled. Don't listen to her. She's one of them. Kaya turned to him. And you're the reason so many died hiding underground. Blue lightning flashed between them as the argument exploded. Ethan stepped forward. Enough, both of you! Kaya's voice softened. Ethan, please. You're not safe here. They don't want to kill you, they want to use you. The power inside you can restart the heart of Solarian, the energy core of our planet. Without it, everything dies. Ethan stared at her, breathing hard. And if I refuse? Kaya hesitated. Then they will force you. The ground trembled again. From the tunnel behind her, soldiers in glowing armor appeared, led by Violara and Lunara themselves. Violara's golden eyes burned bright. Ethan Cole, she said, her voice echoing across the chamber. You were never meant to run. The universe chose you. The power inside you belongs to us. Ethan felt his hands heating up, the blue fire swirling inside his veins. No, he said quietly. It's mine now, Lunara raised her staff, energy crackling. Take him alive. The drones swarmed forward. Ethan's power erupted. Pure energy burst from his palms, forming a glowing shield that shattered the first line of attack. The air hummed with power. Kaya ran to his side, her hands glowing too. Ethan, control it. Don't let it burn you. He could barely hear her. The power was too strong, too wild. Blue light poured from his body, bending the air around him. Violara stepped forward, unfazed. Look at you, she said softly. Not human. Not Celerin. Something new. Ethan's vision blurred. The power burned his chest. His body trembled. He felt like he could destroy the palace itself. Kaya grabbed his arm. Ethan, stop. They'll kill you. Her voice cut through the chaos. Slowly, Ethan forced the energy back inside him. The room dimmed. Violara lowered her staff. Take him to the throne chamber, she ordered. If he is to fight destiny, let him see what he's fighting for. 2 guards seized Ethan's arms, dragging him forward. Kaya tried to follow, but Lunara blocked her path. You've grown too close to the human, Lunara hissed. This weakness will destroy us. Kaya glared at her sister, tears in her silver eyes. If caring for him is weakness, then maybe we deserve to fall. As Ethan was taken through glowing corridors, his body burned with exhaustion. Yet deep inside, beneath the pain and fear, something stronger was growing. A will to fight back, to decide his own fate. And far above, the great reactor of Solarion began to pulse faster, reacting to his presence, as if the planet itself could feel his power. The throne chamber of Solarion was silent. Vast pillars of crystal rose into the sky, glowing with slow blue light. At the center stood a great sphere, alive, spinning, humming like a heartbeat. Its surface was made of pure energy, flowing and shifting with every breath. Ethan stood at its edge, his wrists locked in glowing cuffs. His body still burned from the power he had released. Around him, the air shimmered with strange whispers, voices that weren't voices, like the planet itself was watching. Violara stepped closer. Her golden eyes glowed softly in the blue light. This is the heart of Solarian, she said. Our world lives because of it. But it is dying. Ethan lifted his head. And you think I can fix it? You don't think, Violara said. You will. She waved her hand and the guard stepped back. Lunara stood near the sphere, her staff glowing with symbols. Kaya stood apart, her face pale, eyes full of worry. The heart is failing, Lunara said coldly. Its core rejects our energy. Only your hybrid form can restore it. Ethan shook his head. I'm not your machine. Violara walked closer until her face was inches from his. You are not our machine. You are our miracle. Miracle? He said bitterly. You stole me, changed me, broke me. Her voice softened. And yet you still live. You've become something greater. Don't you see, Ethan? The universe chose you to be the bridge between our worlds. Ethan's voice rose. The universe didn't choose me, you did. The energy around them trembled. The heart flared with blue fire. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Kaya stepped forward. Please stop this. His body isn't stable. The fusion could kill him. Lunara turned sharply. Then he dies a hero, Kaya glared. He's not your toy. Violara looked at her youngest sister. Enough. The time for emotion is over. She raised her hand and the cuffs around Ethan's wrists unlocked. He stumbled forward toward the glowing sphere. The energy from it pulled at his chest like a living wind calling him closer. Ethan looked at Kaya. She shook her head, tears shining in her eyes. "Don't do it." He looked back at the massive sphere pulsing like a star. "If I don't, you all die," he said softly. "And maybe Earth too?" Kaya whispered. "There must be another way." Ethan smiled faintly. "You once told me to remember you if I ever made it home. Maybe this is how I do it." Before she could answer, he stepped into the light. The world exploded. The heart of Solarian engulfed him in pure energy. Ethan screamed as the blue fire consumed his body. He could feel it entering his veins, burning, twisting, merging. The walls shook. Crystals shattered. Lightning burst across the sky outside the palace. Kaya cried out, running toward him, but Lunara held her back. "He's gone!" "You'll die too." But Kaya didn't stop. She threw herself into the light after him. Inside the sphere, Ethan floated in a storm of color. He saw flashes, the desert on Earth, the night sky, Kaya's eyes, Vailara's golden light, and the endless stars. His body was no longer just human. It was energy, shape, will. Kaya's voice reached him inside the chaos. "Ethan, listen to me." He turned. She was there, her form glowing silver. Her hands reached for his. "You have to guide it. Don't fight the energy, become part of it. I can't control it," he shouted. "It's too strong." "You can," she said. "You always could." Ethan looked at her, and something inside him changed. The fear burned away, replaced by calm. He closed his eyes and let the power move through him. The heart stopped raging. The storm turned still. The blue fire became white, then gold. From outside, Vailara watched in awe as the sphere turned brighter and brighter until the entire palace glowed like a sun. The energy of the planet flowed again. The cracks in the sky closed. The city's lights returned. Kalarion was alive. Lunara fell to her knees, whispering, "He did it." Vailara said nothing. Her golden eyes were wet. "He saved us." Inside the sphere, the light slowly faded. Ethan stood at its center, surrounded by silence. His skin glowed faintly, his eyes no longer human. A soft blue light shimmered within them. Kaya lay beside him, breathing weakly but alive. He touched her hand. "Kaya, it's over." She opened her eyes and smiled faintly. "You did it." He looked around the quiet chamber. "We did it." But when he turned to leave, Valara was already standing at the edge of the light, watching him. "You have fulfilled your purpose," she said softly. "But you cannot return to Earth now. You are not the same." Ethan stared at her. "You made me into this." Valara nodded slowly. "And for that I am sorry. You are no longer human, and no longer ours. You are something in between." Kaya stepped forward, holding his hand. "Then maybe that's what the universe needed. Something between both worlds." Valara smiled faintly, sadness in her eyes. "Perhaps." The heart pulsed once more, brighter than before, and Ethan felt it. Every living thing on Solarian breathing again. Every star in the sky whispering his name. He was no longer just a man. He was the bridge, the living fusion of two dying worlds. The twin suns of Solarian rose over a new world. The sky shimmered with silver light, and the once broken cities now floated strong again. Crystals that were once dim glowed bright, and rivers of energy flowed through the land like living veins. Peace had returned. In the great garden of the royal palace, alien children ran across fields of soft blue grass. Their laughter echoed under the glowing trees. Some had silver eyes. Some had skin like light, but all shared one thing, a spark of humanity. Ethan Cole watched them from a balcony. His hair now carried faint streaks of blue, his eyes glowing gently in the light. His hands no longer burned with power. The energy inside him had become part of his soul. Kaya stood beside him, holding his hand. "They're beautiful," she whispered. He smiled softly. "Half human, half Celerin. A bridge between two worlds." "They are your children too," she said. Ethan looked at the little ones playing among the flowers. He could feel something strange, a connection, as if each heartbeat in the garden echoed faintly in his chest. He was proud, but also afraid. "Sometimes I wonder," he said quietly, "what kind of world we've created for them." Kaya leaned against him. "A world born from hope. That's better than one born from fear." It had been 5 years since the fusion. Ethan had become more than a hero. He was a legend. Across the galaxy, the name Ethan of Earth was spoken with awe. To the Celeran, he was the savior of their race. To humans, he was the first man to walk among the stars. But legends carry burdens. Even now, not all Celerans accepted the new era. Some whispered that a human had tainted their pure bloodline. Others feared that his power could one day destroy them. Velara, now Queen of Celerion, ruled beside him, calm, distant, and proud. She had changed too. The cold ambition in her eyes had softened, replaced by wisdom. Yet whenever she looked at Ethan, there was something else, a question she never spoke aloud. One evening, she came to him as the sun set over the crystal horizon. "The Council of Rings requests your presence," she said. "There are reports from the outer colonies. Strange signals, ships seen beyond the dead nebula." Ethan frowned. "Pirates?" Velara shook her head slowly. "No, older, stronger." Kaya stepped forward. "You mean..." Velara's golden eyes turned toward the stars. "The same race that once destroyed our home before we fled to this world. The Devourers have awakened." Silence filled the room. Ethan looked out into the darkening sky. "And they're coming here?" "Not yet," Velara said. "But soon." Ethan clenched his fists. The calm inside him rippled. The blue light beneath his skin glowed faintly. "Then we'll be ready." Velara looked at him, half proud, half sorrowful. "You would fight again for a world that once enslaved you?" Ethan turned to her, his voice steady. "This world isn't just yours anymore. It's mine too." Days passed. The palace prepared for war, though peace still covered the land like a fragile dream. Ethan trained the royal guard, teaching them human tactics, courage, unpredictability, sacrifice. Kaya watched him with quiet worry. "You've given everything to this world," she said one night. "Don't lose yourself again." Ethan looked at her, eyes full of warmth. "Maybe I already did. Maybe that's what it means to be both." Kaya smiled faintly and touched his cheek. "Then promise me one thing. If the stars call you again, you come back." He kissed her forehead. "Always." The night before the first signal arrived, Ethan stood alone in the observatory, the same kind of room where his story had begun years ago on Earth. Through the glass, he watched the stars. One of them flickered, then vanished. He tapped the control panel. The screen filled with data. A fleet was moving toward Celerion, fast, silent, massive. Then came the message. A deep voice, metallic and ancient, echoed through the chamber. "We found you again, children of the light. This time, your savior will not save you." Ethan's hands tightened on the console. The air around him crackled faintly with blue energy. His reflection in the glass glowed. "Part man, part living light," he whispered to himself. "They think I'm still the same man they took from Earth." He looked out at the stars, his voice calm and fierce. "They're about to learn what it means to fight a human." When the suns rose again, the sky of Celerion shimmered with blue fire. Warships lifted from their docks, their engines roaring across the horizon. Ethan stood at the front wearing silver armor streaked with Earth's emblem, a blue circle of home. Behind him, Kaya placed her hand on his shoulder. "Whatever comes," she said softly, "you're not alone anymore." Ethan smiled, the twin lights of two worlds burning in his eyes. "I know." And as the first enemy ships broke through the clouds, the man who was once an ordinary human stood ready, the father of a new world, the bridge between stars and the defender of both species. He raised his hand, and the sky itself answered with light. The battle for the future had begun.